If you don't have an audience, you don't have a business. Similarly, in marketing, if you don't have audience, none of your marketing, no matter how fancy it is, matters. You can't do anything about it when you don't have an audience. It's what makes it effective. Here's what I mean with it. If you are in marketing, you need someone to offer your products or services. In Marketo, this audience is called database. Now, I could talk about many features in Marketo, but I have a very logical reason to start with database in this video series. If you approach understanding marketing automation from a lens of marketing, and if you would want to get more granular, if you see it from an understanding that it is ultimately about sending the right messages to right people, you will grasp it in a way more detail than simply going over the features. If you know the end result or impact of what you do in marketing automation, it makes things so easier to understand and you don't feel silly doing some boring things. I know many people get bored building marketing programs because they never took the time to understand what's going on behind the scenes, or sometimes their job roles just don't allow that level of access. Also, even if you have that access, going through the process of boring implementation is very critical to explore deeper. You cannot drill into the core directly to find your oil. You have to first scratch the surface and learn about the nature of that soil. Okay, back to Marketo. Marketo has a section called database, which has the list of email addresses, names, company names, their job levels, and a lot more detail about the audience. This section basically stores details about your people, your audience. If someone fills out a form on your webpage, this is where it ends up. If you upload a list of attendees from a recent event you did, this is where it will eventually end up. You may have connected Marketo to other systems like Salesforce, and if someone is created in those systems, the data syncs back to Marketo as well. You are basically filtering people from database for different campaigns in marketing, meaning you can define a subset of the audience who should get your emails and send email via different ways in Marketo. For example, you may want to set up a workflow in which you define the criteria as people who are from India with an email address which contains, let's say, gmail.com, and those who have not filled out a form in past 30 days. These kind of criteria can be set up in workflows called smart campaigns in Marketo. The workflows can be set up to define these criteria to take different actions. In our case, it's about sending an email. So basically, there's a whole database which you can keep accumulating for your audience, and it can reach to more than a million email addresses. There are databases where you have more than a million or millions of records as audience. Those are big companies, but all I'm saying is that these kind of instances exist, and the details about those people, and you build up your workflows to send emails or do a lot more stuff, which makes Marketo so exciting and innovative. Now, let me talk about another scenario which should explain more: migration. There are a lot of times when you want to move from one platform to another platform for a variety of reasons. Sometimes you don't want to move to another brand, you just want to move to a new login, a new instance. So migration projects are basically initiatives when you want to move everything you have in your current marketing automation platform to a new platform. It happens all the time. In such cases, you want to move all the content, the campaigns, the systems you built, and very importantly, the database or the audience you have. Since this is such an important aspect of marketing, we usually see people requesting to try and retain activity data as well, meaning every detail of the person history. Meaning, if there are a million email addresses of a million people, you want to retain all information. When did they fill out a form? Which forms they fill out? When did they receive the emails? Did they open? Did they click? And basically everything about that. This becomes very complex, and I usually suggest considering insights from past platforms by aggregating data about activities in the past into new fields. But the point is that all these criteria can be defined in something we call smart lists, and you can flag the data to categories. Hence, you're essentially filtering out the database by applying a criteria to the database to do a different thing this time, which is flagging those data. So you have the audience, and by audience, we mean the list of email addresses and other details about the people in your database. You have features in Marketo which allow you to filter subsets of that audience for some specific purpose. And if you want to send emails to people from India, you can filter them and send them an email. If you want to exclude people from India, you can do that as well. There are a lot of operators like is not contains, etc., to help you define the logic. Because the audience is so important in a business, which translates to database in our case of Marketo. That's why there is so much obsession to optimize it. You can see it all over. It's the lowest hanging fruit for agencies to win business. It is where most products are built. Even if it gets boring, it still remains relevant because people are the most important aspect of any business. And hence, there are so many concepts which have emerged over years around optimizing your Marketo database. I worked on a lot of instances of Marketo in my past roles where I prioritized optimization of databases because I know that the impact of any issue will compound over time and accumulate. That is, the complexity to solve a problem is directly proportional to the delay. And that's basically it. Regarding the data, the issues basically impact everything. Everything you do in a marketing automation platform is impacted by the quality of your database. It's an equal challenge and an equal opportunity at the same time. If your database has issues, your marketing performance will not look good because part of it is not even effective. Some people aren't even getting your emails because their email address is bounced. Your reputation is going to suffer if you continue to send emails to people who have been dormant. So basically, a marketer might not be able to perform better just because the database is not good. Of course, this cannot be a universal reason or excuse, but the thing is that databases do impact the effectiveness of the work marketers do. By fixing your database, you also bring justice to the work of Marketo. Now, let's consider what happens when we fix a database problem. What I like about the resolution of data problems is that once you fix it, the fix compounds the benefits as well of the good data. Consider you are sending emails to 100 people every week, and 10 of them always bounce because their email addresses don't exist because the people who had those email addresses changed their company. However, you keep sending the emails, and slowly your email deliverability, that is, whether your emails are delivered or not, starts to reduce. There are two issues which happen here. One, your IP reputation suffers, meaning the protocols start to think you are not very authentic, and anything you send now has a lesser chance to deliver. Two, your email performance suffer. If 10 people don't even get your email, let's say 20 people click on your email, you will report a 20% click rate. If you did not have those 20% in your list at all from the beginning, it would be 20 people out of 90 people, and your click rate would have been 22%. A 2% increase is a big deal in B2B marketing when you're sending to thousands of email addresses. Of course, this is oversimplification, but the point is that if you fix this problem at once, either get their real email addresses or remove them from the list, you have increased your performance. Or to put it more fairly, you report your performance more accurately. Database issues can misreport your efforts. So now we know some basics of what an audience is, why it's important. We call it database in Marketo, and how data quality impacts everything. So, what are the practices? How do people solve these problems? What are the different tools which are used? Well, there are many tools in this area, and some of them are specifically designed to fix data problems. There are tools for email validation, enrichment, cleansing, and much more. I advocate for being aware of your database quality, and I have written about how to understand the state of your database. Build reports in Marketo which can regularly tell you how your database is growing, what are the sources, where are people in marketing funnel, how much of your database is marketable, are you even marketing to your database or not, etc. The answers to these questions by creating these reports will inform you about the quality and any potential issues. There will always be issues with your data. I am not going to downplay it. This is not bad, it's just a reality which exists. The fundamental reason is that because reality keeps changing, the data we have about reality keeps getting old. There is no fault of yours for the email addresses bounces if people change their jobs. The action item is to keep it updated. And that's why it's okay to have some issues about data. If we obsess so much about data that we are not going to do anything until we reach a ninja state of database quality, what's the point? Yes, data quality is important, but I think there are decisions we can always make as humans, even without 100% clean data. So, back to the point. Having said that, continuous efforts to improve your data quality will always pay off. And more importantly, they keep paying off in long term. In a compounding manner, a 2% increase in a click rate will signal the protocols for allowing more of your content to be delivered to the emails, resulting in more opportunity to increase that click rate and hence improving marketing performance. The upgrade will keep on happening as long as you keep on improving and iterating. A part of Marketo reports, what are tools we use to improve this? Let's look at some of them. Some are about validation, others are about enrichment. You could use agencies with services to help with this, or you could simply do it yourself. There are integrations available to solve these data problems in a variety of ways. Zero Bounds is one of the good tools for email validation I use. It's basically a tool where you can check whether the email addresses you have are valid or not before you send your emails. There are more tools like InCycle for a variety of data problems, flowsteps.io for integrating different use cases into smart campaigns using self-surface flow steps. Clay is such a phenomenal platform for data enrichment, and there are many more. It does require some skill to use these platforms, but once you learn them, they can be used to solve a lot of them. And finally, some snapshots of where you can access these data quality insights. It's the database section where you navigate Marketo, and there are some inbuilt smart lists to tell you about the size and categories like people who are blocklisted, list of people who have unsubscribed, or email addresses which have bounced, or even list of people who are possible duplicates. There are very systematic solutions to these problems in Marketo. We'll talk more about integrations of databases later on, but for now, understanding the audience and how it relates to database in Marketo should be fine. We will explore the overall nature of Marketo feature in another video. We will be talking about how to create leads, how to set up smart campaigns, what are different options to use Marketo, and more detail about what are general capabilities. Till then, all the best to keep getting better.